Welcome to episode 73 of Two Guys, One Sport, the listener mailbag edition, our very first ever. Good evening. My name is Chris.
Good evening, Chris. It is George. Not quite as hot. It is
Speak for yourself.
About to start.
I can agree with.
A new leaf is turning. The long summer is maybe not in the rearview mirror, but
definitely not. No. I still came out to my car today after work to 100-degree temperature, so it is not at all in the rearview mirror. Hell no.
I have not had to run my air conditioning today, so not bad over here.
I forgot to turn my air conditioner on before we started the show, so whoops, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. All right.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've been very distracted lately, but so much so that I completely forgot to watch a match for match of the week, so I'm going to have to go with something I can remember from memory. Okay. So huzzah for that.
You want me to start then?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But just to remember, just so you guys remember, of course, this is, as I said, the listener mailbag edition this week. We have a couple of viewer-submitted questions that we're going to be talking about, and then we also have your live questions that we will be taking as well throughout the course of the show. This is our first ever time doing this as a full show. You know, we do like to take your questions in the chat as the show goes on normally, but this is our first time doing an entire show of them. So you guys are making the show this week. So thank you to those who submitted questions in advance, and those of you who are in the live chat, make them good.
Agreed. I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. Takers Man, good evening. I am not actually in Philly, as I don't remember if you remember, but I'm in Jersey. But we are melting still. Yes, it was, as I said, 100 degrees when I got out to my car. I'm pretty sure it's still in the high 80s, and it's 9 o'clock at night. So that ought to tell you about where I'm at in terms of my sweat factor. It's pretty terrible, which is why I'm not wearing my Brian Dawkins jersey right now. I kept myself to just the hat for the Eagles game tonight. Go Eagles! EAGLES, Eagles beat the Falcons, but Devontae Freeman can get some points because, you know, George needs the fantasy love.
I do need the fantasy love. So I need Devontae Freeman to get some points, while at the same time Jay Ajayi and Julio Jones not get some points. So I need a lot of positive thinking. I'm thrilled about my draft, so we're gonna need to get the season off to a good start, my friend.
Yeah, Jay Ajayi not getting some points is a tall order, sir.
Yeah, well, maybe Alshon or Al Galore. Maybe Alshon or Al Galore can get the touchdowns instead.
No, I think Alshon is actually out this week.
Well, then maybe Aguilar can get the touchdowns.
That I would be okay with. Aguilar is a stand-up guy. You know, I am a Nelson Aguilar fan. You can count me among his fans, and Alshon Jeffrey too. They're both excellent guys. So you can count me a fan of the Eagles wide receiving core for the first time in quite a long time. But yeah, we got matches of the week. George, you definitely should go first on this one.
Okay. I watched 205 Live. You know, I rave about this show.
Oh, you do?
You do? Nothing new. Yes. The opening match was Tony Nese and Grand Metalik.
Nice.
Started their match. That's my match of the week.
Okay.
Started their match with a good exchange of counters and takedowns. Very lucha heavy, you know, that like lucha counter stuff and landing on your feet after Hurricane Rana, stuff like that. You know what I mean? For every flip that Metalik did, premier athlete Tony Nese was there to counter him. It was kind of cool. It's always good to see when the guys get the shackles taken off, you know?
Yeah.
That they're able to just kind of like go with the other opponent.
Yep.
It's whenever Tony Nese faces someone who likes to use a lot of high flying moves, I find that he raises to their level. And then he puts on his own high-flying moves.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good. This is a quick, fast-paced opener. Crowd's digging it. As few people as are there. A lot of people left. It looked pretty empty on TV. But, what are you going to do? It's 205 Live. The quick pace kind of may have taken it out of Grand Metalik because he looked a little sloppy later. Maybe he was blown up. But it didn't really detract from the match. Wow, I can't speak. Detract from the match.
Yeah.
More back and forth. Not a lot of rest holds, which I love. Let these guys just do wacky lucha shit. Tony Nese did a corkscrew dive over the ropes and then a 450 and then a beautiful 450 splash later on in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool. Knees kicked out of the Metalik driver.
Okay.
Then a Hurricane Rana from the top rope and a flying elbow drop like he's Io Shirai. Gets the win for Grand Metalik. Fun opener. A little touch and go sloppy wise, a little bit, but I felt it added to the excitement. I don't want it to be too choreographed,
Yeah, absolutely.
And good match.
Good
match. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was on Tuesday's 205 Live, the one that aired day before yesterday.
Very nice.
And it's right at the top of the show. So just load it up on your little network thing, hit play, and watch the first 15 minutes, and you'll be happy.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, you gave me perfect lead in here. Since you did a match from this week, I will do a match from this week as well.
Sweet.
We will do the main event of this week's first episode of the second Mae Young Classic, the 2018 edition of the Mae Young Classic. The main event of this week's episode, which featured 4 first-round matches, and the main event featured Portugal's pride and joy, Killer Kelly, facing off against the legend, the savant herself. That's the best adjective I can come up with for her on the fly, Meiko Satomura.
One of the all-time greats.
One of the all-time greats, yes. This was a match that really did well for Killer Kelly. As somebody who is young and up and coming, but has a very bright future, putting her in the ring against somebody like Meiko Satomura, who has a complementary style to her, and having her go toe-to-toe with one of the absolute greats was stellar. An excellent booking decision by Triple H and co. Kick for kick, hold for hold, these two just were beating the ever-loving shit out of each other the whole match. They definitely gave Meiko the shine here, but Killer Kelly came out of this match looking infinitely better than she did going in. For somebody who has no idea what he can do, or for somebody who has no experience with any of her past work, she looked like a star coming out of this match. Going up against the ace of this tournament. And commentary did a great job of putting over both competitors here, really telling you just how important Meiko is to women's wrestling, mentioning her history, how she came up through the business, how she has almost 3 decades of experience in this business, or 2 decades of experience in this business, and is just an absolute star that will never be eclipsed. And Killer Kelly held her own, more than held her own, especially with the striking game. This is not a match for the faint of heart if you don't like seeing people getting kicked in the face, or getting kicked in the back of the head, or getting kicked as hard as they possibly can in the chest. Meiko had the star move of the match was Meiko ran the ropes, hit on the rebound, did a cartwheel, and on the cartwheel came down with double knees to the back of to the back of Kelly's neck. It was pretty brutal looking, but it was an excellent spot. And Killer Kelly had her highlight moment of hitting that Dragon Sleeper while Meiko was hanging in the Tree of Woe. Stellar move there. Her submission game is top notch for someone as young as she is. She is an amazing submission game. I love it. Meiko wins with her patented Death Valley driver, but again, Kelly looked like a star coming out of this match, and I expect to see great things from her because she's going to be part of NXT UK, and she's definitely someone that you can tell Triple H and company have a sharp eye for. So I expect to see great stuff from her in the future. And Meiko is obviously a name to beat in this tournament. So definitely, once you're done checking out 205 Live, go queue up episode 1 of this week's Mae Young Classic. Had 4 first-round matches, 3 of which I thought were really good, and 1 that was just kind of eh. But the opener and the main event especially, definitely worth your time. And yeah, great stuff from the network this week. But we're here for you guys. It's listener mailbag time, and we have some viewer submitted questions, and I'm going to actually take this first one here.
Sure.
Submitted to us by...
I have one for you, by the way, when we're done with the viewer ones.
Okay, excellent. But this one submitted to us. This was something that I actually was planning to talk about anyway, and the good brother Duke gave me the perfect lead-in for this. So his question was this: Do you think Kenny Omega is pushing the quote-unquote "we're not WWE" narrative a little too hard with regards to All In and New Japan? And this is my moments where I'm going to have to channel my inner Tanya Rogers here for a minute and say, Kenny Omega, come to the front of the class so I can fucking ream your ass right now. Because apparently last Saturday was the day when all of the marks of wrestling Twitter and all of the assholes who are anti-WWE decided to come out of the woodwork with All In happening. And none of the talent on All In decided to try and dampen that narrative a bit. In fact, some of them even tried to enhance it. That someone specifically being your IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Kenny Omega, who in the press conference early in the morning on Saturday, before even the event had happened, came out in the press conference and said something along the lines of, there's only one big dog in professional wrestling, and he's not in the WWE. You're looking at him right now. Really, Kenny? Really? On a day when you guys are going out there to have your own show and prove that you can have your own success, you really have to start bringing the comparisons into it before the show even starts to the press? Honestly, Kenny, WWE and Roman Reigns have nothing to do with All In at all. You're running your own show. You are trying to prove that you can book your own show without the help of any promotion. It's not just about being able to book outside of WWE. You're booking without the help of any promotion. You're trying to prove that you guys can be your own bookers and basically create your own promotion. That's what that was going on here with Cody and the Bucks and Kenny and everybody else who was involved behind the scenes with this. There was no reason to bring in a comparison to Roman Reigns in the WWE. And yet you had to come out the gate with that. You had to come out and right away draw those comparisons and feed the trolls. Why? Why would you feel the need to do that? Why bring up somebody who is not even involved and who won't even bother to respond, by the way? Because this is not the first time that Kenny has done this. This is not the first time that anybody has done this. And when in the past has WWE or Roman Reigns responded? Maybe once? Out of all the times this has happened, maybe one response, and that was only because of a directed question in an interview about something that was said by the Bucks, if I recall correctly. And Roman responded in the way that he did, and then the Bucks latched onto that and said some more shit about Roman, and it just fed the trolls and fed the trolls and fed the trolls, and they just keep feeding the trolls. Why? What is the point? I get that you guys want to separate yourself from WWE. I get it. But considering the fact that it is about the worst kept secret in professional wrestling, that WWE is pursuing Kenny and pursuing the Bucks to sign them to contracts, is that really a smart business decision right there? Is that really something that you need to do? And honestly, it honestly comes off as kind of pathetic on the part of Kenny, being that he is already heralded as one of the best wrestlers in the world and already said to be one of the premier talents, and already all of the accolades in the world have been given to Kenny Omega, and yet he still feels like he needs to call out Roman Reigns in the WWE. Why? Is there some level of inadequacy going on here, Kenny? Or are you just really that desperate to have your fans buy in even more? Because let's be honest here. Let's talk about this from a business perspective. Kenny and the Bucks already make bank. I can't give exact figures, but they make bank off of their merchandise from their sales, from their fans, and from all the events that they participate in. They make bucks.
I see what you did there.
Yes. Is it really worth it for them to continue to needle WWE's fans and Roman's fans and just keep on, poking the bear about that shit and keep on giving us reasons to say, nope, don't want anything to do with that. Don't want anything to be associated with that, with somebody who just can't get Roman and WWE out of their heads just so that he can win more with the people that he's already winning with? Or would it be smarter to maybe build a bridge and say something nice about Roman or the WWE and then go into the point of, you know, yes, I have a lot of respect for the company. Yes, I have a lot of respect for Roman as a performer, and I'm doing my own thing. And I want to present something that is my own product that is independent from anybody else. And not take the negative road, not take the mockery angle. Instead, maybe show a little class. Maybe decide to be a little bit more even-toned and stay not even positive about WWE or Roman, just neutral. Don't even respond in that sort of negative way or that way of mocking or whatever. Just let the topic happen and move into making yourself look better, because you don't need to drag others down to make yourself look better. That's one thing that we can learn in pretty much any arena of public discourse in the world, be it politics, be it religion, be it sociology, anything. You don't need to drag others down in order to make yourself look better. If you do, you're doing it wrong, because that means you already have too much negative associated with yourself. And Kenny doesn't have that much negative associated with himself. As I've said, he has all these great accolades to his name. There's no reason for him to go low and to go negative and to needle the fans on the other side of the divide instead of building the bridge. There's no reason for him not to, and yet he just won't do it. And I don't know why. I don't understand why. There's only one scenario where in which it makes sense to do this right now, and it's about as far-fetched of a thing as you can possibly imagine. And it is that Kenny has already negotiated and signed a deal with WWE for when his contract in New Japan runs out, and he immediately is going to join the main roster and immediately start a main event level feud with Roman Reigns. And there's no fucking way that that is already established with his contract still at least 6 months out from being expired with New Japan. There's no way that that has already been arranged. Not a chance. So there's honestly no reason for him to be acting like this or doing this. And it really, really gets under my skin, because I really like what Kenny Omega does. I really like what he has to offer. I think that he gives a lot of positives to professional wrestling. But when he does shit like this, when he purposefully just drives the wedge in that much further, I just got to wonder why. Why, Kenny? You're not helping yourself. You're not helping your cause. You're not helping your friends. All you're doing is literally winning more with the people you're already winning with. As winning more is something that I've learned a lot in the course of gaming throughout my life, in video games and Magic the Gathering, also Warhammer 40K, all sorts of different game scenarios. There are some things in the game that are just quote-unquote win more techniques. And this is a win more thing where he doesn't need to do this, but he's doing it anyway just so that he can make the people that already love him even more. How deep of the pockets do you think these people have, Kenny? They've already given you thousands upon thousands of dollars over the past, year or whatever. How deep do you think their pockets go? It makes no sense to do this. So I don't understand. I think that the quote unquote "we're not WWE" narrative, and specifically Kenny's "I'm not Roman Reigns" narrative, is idiotic. And I would love it. I would love it if they could just take a different direction with it and really just decide, you know what, rather than continuing to feed the narrative that our fans have, which, by the way, makes our fans and by extension us look like idiots to the rest of the professional wrestling world, rather than continuing to take that road and continue to make themselves look bad, why not turn it around and do something different? Because I don't get it. So that's what I got. George, give me your thoughts.
I want to latch on for a second to your last point when you said, why don't they turn it around and do something different?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, they just sold out 11,000 seat stadium in an hour. They moved $1 million worth of merchandise and pay-per-view buys, and they made $500,000 at the gate, and God knows what they made from WGN. God knows what else money they made this weekend, right?
Yeah.
What incentive do they have to do anything different financially? Like,
oh,
part of the reason the hell is calling me fucking spam. Part of the reason that All In succeeded to the extent that it did is because of the "we're not WWE" narrative that has been brought to the forefront by Cody and Kenny and the Bucks and Adam Page and everyone else. You need to be with us, because if you're not with us, you're with them, and they're not cool and we're cool. So give us your money. Oh, look, Adam Page has a new T-shirt coming out. You know? So I can't begrudge them for making money 3 days after they made millions of dollars off the backs of picking on the WWE. I can't really begrudge them for doing that. That's why they did that. Like, that's why Kenny Omega needles Roman Reigns, because it gets people worked up on Twitter and, oh, I'm not like Roman Reigns, I better buy another Kenny Omega t-shirt. I'm not like Roman Reigns, I better buy another Kenny Omega 8x10. I'm not like Roman Reigns, I better go to Rev Pro where he's wrestling whomever or whatever. I'm not like the WWE. I like the Young Bucks because they're not the WWE. Screw the WWE. I'm gonna buy another Young Bucks t-shirt.
Yeah, but that's the thing that only gets them so far. You gotta have some. What's the next step, though?
I mean,
you gotta have something else after this, because I'll tell you this much: yeah, they sold out a 10,000 seat arena. They moved $1 million worth of merch, but that's not money that they can retire off of.
No, but they're making money hand over fist. They're going to keep making money hand over fist. They have tapped into a sentiment that, hey guys, we're not the WWE. Support us. And as long as they're not in the WWE, well, this ends one of two ways for them. They either get Godfather offers from Vince, big boy offers, huge offers, and they go to the WWE and they say, we're working all you, ha, 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 right? Or they keep doing what they're doing and releasing a t-shirt every 2 weeks, and their partisans lap it up. Like, either way, they're laughing to the bank. Either they're laughing to the bank because they've gotten Vince to give them shitloads of money, which to Vince is nothing, but to them is real money, or they have aligned themselves so prominently with the anti-WWE movement, which to a large chunk of wrestling fans is the movement they want to be with, that they will constantly make money off those fans. We've talked about this before, how wrestling fandom is not very broad, but it is very deep. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you're in a niche community, and you will spend a ton of money to support your favorites in said niche community. There's not 50 million wrestling fans out there, who just watch on Mondays and that's it. There's a few million who watch on Mondays, and then a ton of people who go to the shows and buy the merch and buy the pay-per-views and go and buy the 8x10s and whatever. And they're constantly keeping that group inflamed, for lack of a better word. So either way they are making tons of money. Either they're going to make a lot of money from Vince and we'll go from there, or they're going to keep doing this and then a year from now make All In 2, and a year after that make All In 3, or get a ton of money from Ring of Honor or whatever. Like, they have leveraged themselves brilliantly one way or the other.
Maybe so. But, I mean, Adam brings up a great point, though. And I agree with him. Their fans will spend the money hand over fist to support them. But I'll tell you this much: the fans that are supporting them don't have pockets nearly as deep as WWE's, and they also don't have pockets nearly as deep as those of WWE fans. The same people who spend thousands of dollars to be in the front row at every pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that's such a small, like, Brock Lesnar guy is not buying Young Bucks merch when they go to the main roster. Like, you're talking about like a super, super small segment of the population, of the WWE population. Like,
maybe so, but the fact of the matter remains that the WWE fan base, like it or not, is A, bigger than most indie wrestling fan bases, and B, willing to spend more than most indie wrestling fan bases.
The first premise is not in dispute. I will challenge your second premise, because we've talked about house show attendance dropping year over year. We've talked about pay-per-view. We've talked about live attendance dropping. We've talked about TV ratings dropping. So I don't.
But merch numbers keep going up. That's the thing. Sales are still very high. They're still making money there. It's not as if just because
the vast majority of the way WWE makes their money is the vast majority of the way WWE makes their money is through TV rights, which has nothing to do with the fan base, one way or the other.
True enough. But if the case is still true that these people on the roster get a cut of the merchandise money that they sell, or of their merchandise that they sell, then Roman Reigns is sitting pretty, because he sells a shit ton of merch.
As well he should be.
Yes. So why wouldn't there be an incentive for them to say, oh, hey, look, we're selling our T-shirts in Hot Topic, and they're selling really well, but there's this audience of millions of other people who would also probably buy our T-shirts if we put ourselves in front of them and made ourselves marketable to them, instead of continuing to make them feel like idiots. I don't know. It just, I've always been of the mindset that that's always been my mindset. That will continue to be my mindset. And the fact that, Kenny and the Bucks, for whatever reason, in a business sense, do not feel that is within their best interest, still confuses and annoys me.
I just think it's tough to indict their business sense. Like,
I'm not indicting their business.
Not indict, but I think it's tough to question it. Like 3 days after they put on a show where they made a shitload of money. Like, I don't know what the future holds. No one does. Maybe they go to the WWE and they make a ton of money, and God bless. Maybe they re-sign with Ring of Honor and they make a lot of money, and God bless. But like, either way, the ball is in their court financially.
Yeah. It'd
be one thing if it was like, and I love this guy, and I'm not picking on him. I think he's very talented. It's just the first name that popped into my head. It'd be one thing if like MJF was picking on Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's you just being whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Although in his case, he'd probably make it work because he's such a great shitbag.
Yeah.
And I mean that as a character.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be one thing if, like, Ace Romero picked on Roman, tried to start a Twitter war with Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing when it's a wrestler of a similar stature in the wrestling community. That's. I get it.
Madeline does bring up a good point as well. That there is a severe lack of diversity among that fan base, though. That's the other thing. Like, we're talking about a fan base that is 90% white.
That's not true.
White cis-hetero men.
No. Don't fall for that. Okay, when I first started going to Ring of Honor shows, back in like 2005, it was 100% white men under the age of 30. When I go to Ring of Honor shows now, it is way more female and way more minority. So don't fall for the stereotype of it's just white guys in Bullet Club shirts. That is not true. Like,
okay.
10 years ago, absolutely. 1,000,000 times, absolutely. But whenever I go to shows now, and I go to independent shows, and I go to Ring of Honor shows, and I see people in Bullet Club swag, it is far more minorities and far more women than used to be. So whatever they have tapped into It is, you know, it's not like the old days, not even close.
Fair. But there's also a thing to be said about, you know, is this behavior becoming of a champion? Because I tell you what, this is not something that Tanahashi or Okada would ever feel the need to do. And like it or not, as IWGP champion, Kenny is still representing New Japan wherever he goes. And he's the one who went out there and said, you know, he's been saying for 2 years now, I'm the only one that can lead this company into this age of international expansion that we're going for. I'm the only one who can do it. Is it really that good of a move for him to go out there and start, you know, BS Twitter wars and social media wars with people from other companies who, again, aren't even going to respond and aren't even going to acknowledge his existence because it is petty and unbecoming of a professional? Is that really the way that New Japan wants their champion to be behaving? The guy who is holding the belt of freaking Kenta Kobashi.
Let me know when the garden sells out, and then we'll see if it's been working or not. Like, I can't look. The Twitter stuff is so, I don't even. I mean, like, insignificant. The receipts are what I care about, and I mean both ways. I mean that, like, let me know when Kenny and company sell out the Garden WrestleMania weekend, because I mean, they just sold out this show. We'll see what happens in April. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Or we'll see what, like, I don't know. Whenever, come back to me in 3 months, or whenever they start selling out the Garden, whenever the tickets for that start going on sale.
That's fair.
You know, like that's so. I guess incomplete is my answer to that question.
That's
like,
fair.
Hey, you're asking the same guy who would launch Twitter into the sun if it didn't help him promote this show.
Fair.
Like, the only reason I have Twitter is to promote this show and talk to you. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, so
yeah, you were the one who said this week we need a different way to communicate.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, if you want to rag on someone on Twitter, hey, I'm right there with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The whole damn thing is a fucking cesspool, and it's not. And wrestling Twitter is somehow even more cesspool-y than regular Twitter somehow. But I want the receipts, is what I'm saying.
Fair.
Long story short. So.
Yes. Biff Kensington, good to see you in the chat. Awesome to have you here. Brings up a good point as well. Omega has ties to the WWE organization. Tanahashi and Okada do not.
Exactly.
Not to justify or condemn it, but it could be the means to explain it. There's more cross communication between former WWE employees. That is possibly a motivating factor as well. Although, you know,
Tanahashi's too busy tweeting about how the power is out at his house and he's playing darts on the wall. He tweeted something today like, "The power's back. I am alive." Like,
nice.
Thanks. Great, Ace.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Go, Ace. Welcome back to the land of
alive.
having basic utilities.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh man. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Sure. What do you got? What's the next question?
Next question from the man in the chat himself, Taker's Minion. We're going to take one of our fantasy booking questions. We got a couple of them. Here's our first one. And this is one that you're going to have to take the lead on because
Sure.
I am not nearly as informed on this. Who are your top 5 wrestlers from quote-unquote ye olden days you would love to have on the current Raw or SmackDown Live rosters?
I have 5 names.
I do too.
Now, I purposely did not pick names of anybody who did the lion's share of their work after 1990. In fact, 3 of the names I picked were either retired or passed away before 1990.
Okay.
The other 2 were, and I'll explain when I get to their names, so broken down that they might as well have been retired after 1990.
Okay.
So I kind of fudged it. And these are in no particular order. These are the first 5 names I could think of.
Okay.
Number 1 is Bruno Sammartino.
Okay.
And we have talked about him in the past when he passed away earlier this year. I think that charisma and that authenticity and that promo ability overcome his relative limited in-ring style. And that I think that if he was a smaller version of like a Braun Strowman just throwing dudes around, you know, it could work. And as long wrestling fans want authenticity, Chris. However, they get it, right?
Right.
They latch on to characters because they believe that these people are real. It's why everyone hates Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
It's why everyone loves Stone Cold Becky Lynch and hates Charlotte. Because Becky Lynch is real and Charlotte is not. Mm-hmm. There's nobody in the world more authentic than Bruno Sammartino. And that translates if you're in 1940, translates if you're in 2018. It doesn't matter. Like that, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
My second name is Bruiser Brody, who this is where I plug my other show, Mondays, Connoisseurs of Wrestling.
Very nice.
7 Central. We talked about Bruiser Brody for 2 hours. So if you're looking for a nice deep dive on the man himself, that would be a good place to listen to. He more or less invented that crowd brawler style that you see in every indie show. Like when you see Pentagon and Su Yung, that's Bruiser Brody. He invented that. Nice. I feel that the look and his charisma and his ability to get over, he got over in Puerto Rico and Japan and in Memphis and Dallas and Northern California and Florida and Georgia and Minneapolis and Chicago and et cetera, et cetera. Like if you get over everywhere and you're a draw everywhere with a unique style and a unique look and a unique presence, you'll be fine. I mean, wrestling's simple. You know what I'm saying? Number 3 is Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Just that physical look and that charisma and that presence and that fear and all that's a slam dunk for me. Absolute slam dunk.
Yeah.
Number 4 is the Dynamite Kid.
Okay.
He's one of the ones who was post 1990, but he was already starting to slow down, and he was in a wheelchair by like 94. So I mean, I'm allowing it. He invented the modern junior heavyweight style. Like if you watch his matches from like 82, you're like, holy shit, this would fit right into like the 2018 Best of Super Juniors. Like it wouldn't miss a beat. Like Will Ospreay could do his exact same match move for move, and he'd be like, damn, that's a great match.
Yes.
His in-ring doesn't age at all. He'd be right at home. He's like 5'11" and 210, so he's basically Will Ospreay anyways, only much more of a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
And I have a name for you, Blast from the Past, and I hope Biff and Takers are here for this, because I had a little trouble coming up with this last name. Okay. Those 4 were pretty obvious. This last name is a guy named Ray Stevens, who is, in the 60s, the general consensus within pro wrestling was that Ray Stevens had followed in the footsteps of Buddy Rogers as the best all-around performer. Let me tell you what made him great. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Great matches, which helps. The ability to make an opponent look good, a huge money draw, and more or less invented modern bumping. Like, that stuff's pretty timeless. He was a big blonde dude, muscular, good look, good promo, great heel. You wanted to see him get the shit kicked out of. He could make his opponent look good. He could make himself look good. He was a great tag team wrestler with Nick Bockwinkel and Pat Patterson. He was a great singles wrestler. He single-handedly kept the Northern California territory afloat for 10 years. Ray Stevens is my last guy. I think he would be home. He'd be fine, just perfectly fine in 2018.
All right.
So, I hope that helped, Takers. I hope those names are good.
Yep. Like great names.
So
I like it. All right. I went with names that some of these names are not necessarily considered to be ye olden days because they were only starting their careers, but these are people who definitely were in the peak of their careers before the year 2000. So number 1 on my list, without a doubt, is Aja Kong, because, and yes, she is still performing today, but she started her career in the late 80s, early 90s, and definitely was at her peak during the 90s. She's slowed down as time has gone on. She's approaching the age of 50 now, but still gets it done because she's Japanese and they're superhuman. But give me early career Aja Kong on the main roster as a monster heel for the women, and you'd have me watching whatever show she was on every week without fail. Because there's something to be said for somebody like Asuka who can kick the shit out of you from any angle, but the physical presence of someone like Aja Kong is undeniable. And to have that physical presence combined with that incredible technique is really where it's at. Because, yeah, you can have somebody like Nia Jax or Beth Phoenix in the ring who is physically imposing. But if they're not bringing it, then it's not nearly as effective. And you can tell me all you want with the commentary team that Nia Jax is a physically imposing presence and that she's a destructive powerhouse in the ring. But when I'm seeing her botching moves left and right and not delivering anything that actually looks dangerous in the ring, then I don't really care. Whereas you put Aja Kong in the ring at her peak, and holy fuck, give me more. Give me more, please. Please. Second name,
is awesome. That's a great name. I should have made room for her too.
Yeah, Kong she's one of the best. Second name is Dusty Rhodes, because WWE does not have that kind of a relatable character anymore. Because everybody on that roster is superhuman looking and, doesn't really have that kind of real world aesthetic. And anybody that does or might be able to hint at having that real world aesthetic is a lower card jobber. There's no authenticity within that company anymore in terms of delivering someone that actually, can be latched onto with the crowd. Yeah, you have people that play characters that the crowd can latch onto, but let me tell you something. I meet Becky Lynch out on the street, I'm still going, holy crap, it's freaking Becky Lynch, And even if I had no clue who she was, I would be like, wow, that's something. She's an impressive looking woman. Dusty Rhodes is somebody who had the relatability in a physical sense and in a verbiage sense. And just everything that he did just made it look like somebody who just came out of the crowd and who stepped in the ring and was just wrestling with the best of their ability. Everything that he did had that level of, just everyman to him. And it was perfect. I would love to see somebody like Dusty Rhodes in WWE and for them to have a character like that. And really any promotion, because there's nobody like that anymore. Nobody. Even the guys who do go into the ring and maybe are a little bit flabby and maybe, aren't necessarily in the, in the best shape and maybe do look a little bit more run down, still are doing things that none of us could ever dream of doing. So, give me a character who actually makes me think, you know what? That could be me. And that's the real thing, is being able to say, yeah, not being able to look at somebody and say, yeah, that could be me 10 years down the line if I worked out at the gym every day and started eating healthy and, trained. More of a, yeah, that could be me right now if I just walked out there and got in the ring. That's the kind of authenticity that Dusty Rhodes brought, and that's the kind of feeling that I wish we could convey in the modern day wrestling. Third on my list is your guy Stan Hansen, because he's fucking Stan Hansen.
The only reason I didn't pick him is because of the cutoff. Stan's the man.
Do I even need to say anything about Stan?
He's number one on my all-time in-ring workers list for a reason. Yeah. So yeah, Stan's the man.
Yeah. And last, I kind of cheated and picked the tag team, but I went with the Rock and Roll Express as my last pick, because there is no tag team that is a genuine babyface tag team anymore in WWE, because they haven't taken the time to really develop a team that has that genuine babyface authenticity to them. Like, yeah, the New Day are faces, but they're like wacky and jokey faces. And that's really the case for almost every face tag team, is that there's always that element of comedic nature to them. And on the flip side, with heels, you either have monster heel tag teams like the AOP, or you have cheating heel tag teams like the Revival. That's what there is. Because WWE doesn't take the time anymore to book coherent and cohesive tag team wrestling. So I would be all in favor of seeing the Rock and Roll Express, a genuine babyface tag team who everybody would be cheering their asses off for. The last team that we had like that was DIY. And we all know how that went. So, yeah.
That's a great list.
Yeah. If I had to choose, if I had to have the Rock and Roll Express only count as one name and pick a fifth, I would say Manami Toyota as my last name, because for one thing, one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. You know, in-ring technique like you would never see anywhere else, and two, same kind of thing as the Rock and Roll Express, a genuine babyface that everybody can get behind, who everybody could believe would never quit. The kind of character that they could have had with Bayley and could have had with Becky Lynch if they ever bothered to book a babyface properly in the women's division, but no. Instead, we had a kendo stick on a pole match and a punked out triple threat match result.
I think the thing that we are both leaning to is authenticity.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I'm importing Dusty Rhodes, I'm letting Dusty Rhodes write his own shit.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm bringing in Ray Stevens, I'm letting Ray Stevens get his own heat. I mean, within reason, obviously. You know, like, hey, Ray, you can't be racist.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, hey, Ray, you can't be a homophobe. Yeah. But I'm letting him direct his own programs. Two names, friend of the show, Biff Kensington brought up I wanted to focus on.
Yep.
Where's the list? Billy Robinson and Terry Gordy.
Nice.
Billy Robinson is a awesome shout. He's like the inventor of all the stuff that like Zack Sabre Jr. does, only he did it everywhere and drew everywhere. So picture like Zack Sabre Jr., but even more violent.
Nice.
And over. Yeah, he's just the invented modern British catch wrestling. And he was super popular in Australia and Europe and Japan and South America and everywhere. It didn't matter. People wanted to watch him wrestle because he was such a unique athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Gordy is another good one. Great tag team specialist. Would be over just anywhere. If we can get Terry Gordy from like 1986 and keep him away from the minibar, like we would absolutely have something. So that's some great names. Great names. I love this. Like my show meets your show. Yes. Good stuff.
Taker, thank you for the approval on my list. I was hoping it would meet your expectations. That was a tough draw for me. So I'm glad you approve of it. Next, we're going to come to the present.
Sure.
Don Sal asked us this morning a very, very smart question.
Of course, it's Don Sal.
Yeah. If you had total control over WWE, who would you have for each champion?
Okay. You want to go first or should I?
Well, let's go championship by championship.
Okay. Well, okay.
Start with the Universal title. I'm sticking it right where it is with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, me too. He doesn't, I'm Roman agnostic, but I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, let me give you a caveat first.
Okay.
I've talked about this. I put all the women on one brand, and I put all the tag teams on another brand. And then I had one women's championship and one tag team championship.
That's fair.
I only have 6 championships. I have all the women are on Raw, and all the tag teams are on SmackDown. So
I'm gonna leave it as is with brand championships because I like the idea of each show having its own identity. And there are certain people who I think are deserving of having belts that wouldn't have the opportunity if they were all stuck on one brand together, even if we didn't have to take into account WWE's incredible bias in certain areas. So I'm leaving it as is. But you are of course welcome to arrange it as it is because as Sal did say, it is total control. So
the only difference was that we interpreted Sal's question to not involve moving people around on the rosters or bringing anyone up. Like being like, I would bring up Johnny Gargano and make him the champion. That was not allowed.
Yeah.
Like
we're
the
not
rosters
people out of NXT. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you do your own version of this, when you follow along with us, keep that in mind that we were not allowed to move the rosters around any.
Yeah. So next up, we have the WWE Championship, and you can go first on this one.
I went with Shinsuke Nakamura. I felt that they had a chance to belt him. They didn't, and that chance is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I would have put the strap on him at WrestleMania, and then had him turn heel once he won the title.
Okay.
And I would have said, "All right, Knock, here you go." Because I mean, I love me some AJ Styles, but I feel that this reign is a little long in the tooth. It's been since November.
Yeah.
I mean, it's September now. You know, like, okay, you know, he's done some good work. He's done great work, as we've talked about. He's done some good work. I would have given it to Nakamura, and I think the brand is stronger when you have a heel champion and a face chasing.
Yeah.
Well, I would have had Shinsuke Nakamura win the belt at WrestleMania, or at the very latest, the show after WrestleMania.
Okay.
Which was what, Backlash, I think?
I don't remember. I blocked those shows out of my memory because they were all fucking terrible.
That May pay-per-view at the latest.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to go with a complete bias pick and say Kofi Kingston.
Sure.
The man has never held the strap, and he deserves it. He's put in amazing work for an entire career in the company. Has never gotten the recognition that he deserves on that level. And the one time that he was close to it had himself hamstrung by shithead Randy Orton. So I would put the strap on Kofi at Money in the Bank. I would have had him win the title at Money in the Bank, or have won the case and then cashed in to win it off of AJ, and let him have his moment in the sun, because he's more than deserving. Next up, women's titles. So you only have one women's title.
I only have one, and I would keep it on Ronda. And then I would have her wrestle Stone Cold Becky Lynch at WrestleMania next year.
Okay.
That's my main event of WrestleMania. Not this Ronda Charlotte fiasco. Like, you have Ronda as the monster, even the babyface monster, and you have Stone Cold Becky Lynch scratching and clawing her way up to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, I'm selling out a stadium with people who want to see that. I mean, it's wrestling. It's easy, Chris. Like, you don't have to muddy it up.
Yep.
So
I got easy results too for you on my two choices. On Raw, it would be Sasha, and on SmackDown, it would be Becky.
Sure. Because
they're the two that the fans have wanted, and they've been wanting them for forever. Sasha as the boss, once again, the dominant heel that wins through BS, but is an amazing character to watch. And Becky as Stone Cold Becky. Just because those two characters are easy as hell to write and easy as hell to maintain. Give me that, and I'm satisfied with my women's titles right now.
Yeah, okay.
Intercontinental.
Drew McIntyre. Use that to build my next challenger for Roman Reigns long term. Yep. Like the old days. Give him the Intercontinental. Dolph, go bye-bye. Get the hell off my bye. Go away now. Mm-hmm. You're not involved with this at all. I would give it to Big Daddy Drew, and I would say, guess what, Drew? At 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock my time, every Monday, you're going to have a 20-minute banger match. With anybody. Anybody. Face, heel, don't matter. You're going to have a match. You're going to be a fighting champion. You could be a heel, but you can't be a cheating heel, and you can't be a cowardly heel. You're going to be a dominant heel.
Yep.
And then you're going to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
In a belt versus belt winner take all, WrestleMania 6 or sort of thing. So
yeah. That's 100% reasonable. I'm on board with that. I think that's a great choice. I would echo that sentiment as well. Drew McIntyre is an excellent choice. And I would definitely maintain that for a while, because he could use the reign. Yeah, I can't think of anything you didn't say that I would.
I would probably have Rowan beat him at WrestleMania. By the way, I haven't decided yet, but I'm leaning that direction.
Yeah, me too.
And then you would have a tournament for it'd be winner take all, and then the Intercontinental would have a tournament which would occupy the next 8 weeks or so of Monday Night Raw.
Diamond Dogs has actually said he doesn't get the appeal of Drew McIntyre because he likes hosses and just doesn't get them. I think it's less about Drew being a hoss, Diamond Dogs, and more about the fact that he is agile and brings a presence with him. There's just I don't know what exactly it is. It's hard to describe, but he just has that aura about him of being just, okay, this is more than just a tall Scottish guy. This guy actually has something else to him that you just need to see to believe. And I first got that Like the moment when I actually like understood that, because I had seen his material in the past, but the first moment that I actually like got that and understood it was when I saw him live at Evolve '83 in his final match in the Indies before leaving to come back to NXT when he wrestled Matt Riddle in an I Quit match. And watching that match, that was when he was still Drew Galloway. And watching that match, I was like, okay, I get this now. Now I understand. I understand the Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway hype. Because I didn't get it prior to that either. But it's just there's something about him. And it may be something you have to see live to understand. But he's got something to him. It demands your attention. It just demands it. So that's who I would go with there. And I think maybe if you're able to see him at a live event, Diamond, maybe you'll get it too. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. But anyway.
I echo that, by the way. I saw him at an AEW show. He wrestled Silas Young in Silas Young's last match before he went full-time with Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. And he was selling at the merch table after the show, which I loved. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either he blew his knee out and didn't tell anybody, or he was just like, yeah, I'm going to sell the entire time. Why not? Yep. Okay, cool. I'm in.
Nice.
Great.
All right. U.S. champion.
Andrade Almas. But I would not have him do that bullshit. Hey, I'm a foreigner who has the United States Championship. Har, har, har. That they love with the U.S. champions.
Yeah, that's fucking garbage. I hate that.
I would have him be a little more cowardly than McIntyre. But I would eventually set it up so that Daniel Bryan beats him for this trap at like Survivor Series.
Fair.
Him and Zelina Vega cheats to win, kind of like the Andrade Almas from NXT.
Yes.
Like she interferes in his matches, but he's still good enough on his own.
Yes.
But she gives him that extra little edge. That's what I would do. I would kind of recreate like the January 2018 reign with the U.S. belt.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, you're welcome for addressing that, Diamond Dogs. Glad I could do that. My U.S. champion would be Luke Harper. Face Luke Harper. Luke Harper that we saw at the end of the feud for the WWE Championship leading into WrestleMania 33. Give me that Luke Harper again and let me run with it. Because that's a character that you can do amazing things with. He was sensational in that role. And even operating outside of the whole Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton BS, I'm certain that he could continue to be sensational in that role. Especially if you think about him leading into a feud with a heel that could be a great foil for him, like a Kevin Owens. You can definitely do a lot of work there. And I would be so on board with that. Or even if you want to bring Eric Rowan back in and have Eric Rowan be his foil, be the lost brother that went the other way. You can run that storyline too, and that would be a sensational feud as well. I'd be all in for that. So, Luke Harper as a singles champion and being a relatable face that is still dynamite in the ring, I'm all about it. Give it to me. Give it to me. All right.
I like it. I'm with you.
Next, Cruiserweight Championship.
Oh, that's easy. Mustafa Ali. Give it to the ace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's easy.
In a heartbeat.
That's easy.
That is the easiest thing in the world to book. Tag teams.
Well, mine are going on SmackDown, so I kept it on SmackDown. Okay. Otherwise, I would have gone Ambrose and Rollins on Raw as kind of a recreation of the really fun Roman Reigns Seth Rollins tag team from 2014 or 2013 or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
But I decided to keep it on SmackDown, so I went with the New Day because I like the New Day.
Fair.
Don't fix what's not broken, you know.
Yeah, I went with the New Day as well. Have it be the New Day as the stable with the belts, rather than the Shield being the stable with the belts. So have Big E and Xavier holding the tag team titles while Kofi holds the WWE Championship.
Sure.
And on Raw, give it to the AOP.
Okay.
Just Just fucking put the belts on them and let them annihilate everybody until another tag team comes up and proves themselves worthy of fighting them. Because there's no reason why they should be stuck in a lower card feud with fucking Titus Worldwide and not annihilating fools. For those two guys to be in that position, just no. Just fuck no. UK title.
Oh, I didn't even think of this one.
Perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine leaving it on Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. Yeah, Pete Dunne.
One of the 10 best wrestlers on the planet. You can't go wrong there.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Biff, I like your thinking. War Raiders versus Authors of Pain. I'm all about that.
Oh, yeah, just big nasty guys beating the shit out of each other. I'm in.
Give me like 6 matches of that.
Yeah.
Like the supersized version of the New Day Usos feud from last year. Just give me War Raiders versus Authors of Pain for like 6 months. I'll be the happiest man that there ever was. Do you want to do NXT as well, or you want to leave it just main roster?
NXT. I don't know. What are you thinking for the NXT for the main title?
All right, NXT Championship. I'm just fucking put it on Johnny Gargano already and let it be over with. I would have put it on Johnny Gargano 4 months ago and let it been over with, because this is just painful to watch now.
Johnny failure.
Yeah, I didn't even want to talk about that. Oh my god, it makes my soul hurt. Yeah, I would have had the belt on him months ago. I wouldn't have even had this feud with Ciampa past the rehiring match. To be perfectly honest,
I think that's fair. Mm-hmm. Women, you go with it on Kairi Sane?
Oh yeah, absolutely leaving it on Kairi Sane.
Yeah, this is going better than I thought.
She's the ace right now. And once she's done with Shayna, she's gonna be the way to elevate the rest of that women's division. Because as I've said for a while now, after the departure of the 4 Horsewomen and Asuka and Ember, it's a whole lot of people that nobody is really familiar with. I mean, the only one left is just Nikki Cross, and she's got to be on her way up soon too. So using Kairi, who has an incredible wealth of experience and has the technique to make literally anybody and everybody look amazing in the ring, is a perfect way to build up your women's division and say, okay, all the names that you remember are gone except for Kairi. Here's all these new names that you should know and love immediately.
My long-term champion is Bianca Belair, though. I think that... I think
it's too soon.
No, I'm saying no, not right now. No, I'm saying
like
down the line, my goal is to put it on Bianca Belair. I don't know when that is, but it's going to be down the line. You can't see me, but I'm waving my hand down.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like down the line, 12, 18 months from now.
MDS, Kairi Sane is Kairi Tanahashi. I don't want to hear any word to the otherwise.
We talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Absolutely, she is.
2 weeks ago, Kairi Tanahashi. We talked about this. North American title, I'm hot-shotting it to Keith Lee.
Sure.
Because he's fucking Keith Lee.
Yeah, sure.
And tag team titles, I'm hot-shotting to the War Raiders, because War Raiders. I mean, yeah, that does put the belt on literally 100% faces in NXT, but NXT should be a face-heavy promotion. So I'm okay with all the title holders being faces.
Yeah, okay. I got no problem with that.
Yeah. Harken back to the WWF days of old, when most of the title holders were faces. That people, the crowd would be happy to see winning.
Yeah, make your fan base not hate you.
Biff, you're half right. Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai is the 2020 version of Bayley Sasha. That's what you're thinking there.
I'm not sorry, Biff. I'm not a Dakota. The Dakota Kai gimmick. Wow, like where she's petrified of everything does nothing for me.
She was petrified of Shayna. They're gonna get her out of that once Shayna's
gone. God willing.
I promise you.
God willing.
She's far too talented and far too experienced to not be utilized in a greater role.
Well,
again, I promise you, it's a matter of using Kairi to build up the rest of the women. Okay. And Candice too, to a lesser extent, because the crowd knows Candice and loves Candice as well. But they've kind of backseated her a bit. They need to bring her out as well and have her be the other tool through which the women are built up. Use Kairi as the champion and use Candice as the gatekeeper.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So that's my NXT. Do you have any thoughts on NXT, or do you want to just leave it at that?
I'm good. I'd be okay with Mustache Mountain getting a run with the tag belts instead of War Raiders, but I like War Raiders. I'm okay with them too.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm more thinking about, the fact that Mustache Mountain is probably not going to be on NXT proper for very long.
Yeah,
it's going to
for
be
a while.
NXT UK. But yeah. Last question that we had submitted through the DM. So guys, if you have any questions in the live chat, start to prepare those now while we talk. This last question, which came to us from our good buddy Philip Bexman. And this is going to be one that I think I'm going to be taking the lead on first before you, because it's right up my alley. If you could choose 4 girls of different styles, examples given include Ace, Cocky Heel, Monster Hoss, up-and-coming star, submission specialist, funny lady, etc., to build an all-female promotion around, who would they be? And you can choose from any active female wrestler in the world.
Okay, that was my next question. Okay.
Yeah. So 4 women of different styles. Number 1, the Ace, Io Shirai, without a doubt. Because she's Io Shirai. Do I need to say anymore? When her first round match in the Mae Young Classic happens, you will understand if you do not yet. That's all I got to say. As your diehard, is your never say die plucky babyface, I'm going with Tegan Knox, who is somebody that the crowd will get behind with immediacy and who everybody will support without fail. She is just too likable and too excellent at what she does to not be beloved. And especially as someone chasing Io for the championship of that promotion, she would be perfect in that role. As your supernatural force of nature can never really tell which way they're leaning week to week, I'm picking Rosemary.
Oh,
who I love.
Good shout.
Who I love. I love her stuff. And she is somebody that I would be able to use in literally any role because she can do basically anything. And transcending the eccentricities of a character like an Asuka or the downright craziness of a character like a Nikki Cross, Rosemary can portray so many different facets of being just out there that it works perfectly. I would be all in for that. And lastly, as your shithead cheats to win, but also,
I got a name.
But also dominant and deadly.
Ooh, never mind then.
As a heel, I'm changing alignments for Toni Storm and putting her in that heel role because Toni has the character depth to play that role, and having her be the asshole, the cocky asshole who cheats to win but doesn't have to because she's also talented enough to kick your ass would be perfect. I'm all in for Toni in that role. WWE is going to make her out to be a face, and rightly so, because she is beloved by the crowds. But she has the depth of character to be able to play that heel character easily. So that's my 4. Who do you got?
I want Ginny.
That's what I thought you were
going. That's what I thought you were going with when I said, "Oh, I have a name for you." When you said the shit heel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want Ginny. I want Ginny on my roster.
Yeah.
She's just such a blank, and I mean that in the best way.
Oh yeah.
I want to find a spot for Tessa Blanchard.
Okay.
She's really impressed me a lot. I gotta have Io Shirai. I need Io Shirai is the sun with which everything orbits around in my world, and just regardless, she's just so awesome. And you know what? How about a role for one of my favorite roles, the Lion in Winter, a role for a older veteran who can still kick ass every now and again, but may not have it on every night, but on some nights can still be the best, like a Tanahashi, And how about I put Mako Satomura in that role?
Perfect.
You know, and just like, you know what? You're the midlife crisis ace, like Tanahashi. Only you'll be great at it too because you're awesome. So,
Perfect.
like that's the 4 I would choose to build my thing around. I would have Io Shirai as my undisputed number 1, Ginny as my shit stirrer, Tessa Blanchard as my wild card, and Mako Satomura as my can I still get it done? You know, that's what I would do.
Nice.
So I hope that's a good answer for you.
Yeah.
Madeline's 100% right, by the way. That Tessa is absolutely what Impact needs to do.
Yeah.
Like that's an good shout, no brainer.
Well, I mean, now that she has the belt, they can do that. So I hope that they do that because she has the talent. Even if her ceiling as compared to others may be limited, but in front of that audience, she works perfectly well as being the champion and being the ace there. And Biff, meanwhile, with the Dream 6-woman tag match here, Mako Satomura as the Minoru Suzuki of an all-Japanese women's hit woman stable with Io Shirai and Asuka versus the team of Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, and Kairi Sane.
Sure. So
talk about perfect booking of heels versus baby faces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, guys, let's get
I
your
have a question
for
for you.
All right. While you guys are getting your questions into us, George, your question to me.
You may have answered this, and if you have, whatever, answer it again. I have talked about in the past how I got involved with this grand endeavor known as professional wrestling.
Yes.
I want to know your story. What led you to start watching wrestling for the first time?
It's funny you mentioned that because I was actually thinking about that today a little bit while going over some of the questions and thinking about some of my answers here to what we got submitted from the viewers. So it's kind of a meandering path, if you will. So back in the day, I used to be a big Magic the Gathering player. I played pretty consistently at every Friday Night Magic at the store that I went to for quite a long time. Probably a good 5 years consistently of playing at Friday Night Magic before I stopped playing the standard format. And I had a group of guys that I played with who, after F&M ended, we would all pack up our stuff, pile into cars, and drive over to one guy's house and keep playing more while they put on the episode of Friday Night SmackDown that they had on DVR. Now, I didn't really pay attention to it because I was not really that into wrestling and didn't really, at the beginning, I just didn't really care to pay attention very much. But over time, for time clarity purposes, this is in 2013. So over time, though, I started to pay a little bit more attention week to week, thanks to the group of gentlemen known as the Shield, and started to say, okay, this is actually kind of interesting. This is kind of entertaining to watch. I still didn't really have full comprehension of what was going on and didn't really pay huge amounts of attention. But, every now and again when I would actually turn my brain on and listen to what was going on the TV, I would be like, okay, this is actually kind of interesting. And as you could probably guess, Roman's character was the one that really drew my interest the most. Although Dean at the time actually, it's funny because I watched those initial in my initial exposure stage, I initially looked at it as Dean being the leader of the group because I always thought he did the most talking out of anybody, and that Roman was the secondary and Seth was just kind of the ancillary, I'm just here guy. That was how I looked at the Shield in those early days because I didn't really have the experience. But that was just cursory week to week watching, and after a while I stopped going out that late because I didn't really feel like being out until 4 a.m. on Fridays playing Magic anymore with those guys. So I stopped going as frequently. Fast forward to the fall of 2014 in October, I was over at another friend's house, a different friend. It was a Sunday night, and we were putting together Warhammer figures, and he turned on Hell in a Cell. It was Hell in a Cell 2014 when Dean Ambrose jobbed out to a hologram. And
Oh, the good old days.
I paid a little bit more attention to that, and I was like, huh, it's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm kind of interested in this. You know, I'm one. You know, I wondered, well, why are Dean and Seth fighting now, and where's Roman? So I started reading up a little bit, and I started watching the show a little bit from week to week. And then they had the go home show on Raw prior to Survivor Series when John Cena came out all by himself, delivered that fiery as hell promo to Team Authority and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And then the rest of his team all assembled and they kind of rose triumphant there to close the show. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. I'm in. I'm in for this. I'm invested. And I went over to my buddy's house and watched Survivor Series with him and another friend and saw the two of them lose their fucking minds when Sting came out at the end to save Dolph Ziggler and win the match for Team Cena. And like their excitement at that made me like, okay, all right, I'm in. I'm in for this. And then I was only even more in for it the next month at TLC when Cena and Rollins faced off in a tables match and Roman Reigns came back in the middle of the match to spear Big Show and save Cena to win the match. And I was like, okay, Roman's back now. This was the guy who I remember as being somebody to pay attention to. I'm in now. I'm really in now. So that was how I like really got all the way in with wrestling. That was the long and meandering path that got me there.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Took a while.
I'll tell my story real quick.
Yeah.
I grew up watching wrestling. I've talked about that multiple times. Fell out of it in 2002. Mm-hmm. Was in high school, just like, you know, but I'm done with this now. This part of my life is over. Didn't watch any, didn't follow any, you know. SummerSlam 07, a coworker was like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing for what are you doing Sunday night?" And I said, "Oh, nothing." And he goes, "Come to my house. I'm ordering SummerSlam, and we're having pizza and beer." And I was like, "People still watch wrestling?" He's like, "Oh yeah, wrestling's great." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. You have pizza and beer. I'm in." And I get there, and it's the main event is Randy Orton and John Cena before they got beaten into a pulp by having them wrestle 40 times. And I was like, "Huh? Oh yeah, I used to like this stuff." And this match is pretty great. And I'm back in, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, 9 years later or 11 years later, and yeah, back. And I hate wrestling, and I love wrestling. And I think that's a pretty great way of putting it, you know?
Yep.
So, you got any questions, my friend?
We have plenty of questions from the chat.
Lay them on me.
All right, so Biff, we'll start with Biff's question first. All right, so he says, the North American wrestling scene over the last 2 decades has become a fusion of multiple international styles and flavors. Which quote-unquote wrestling scene is the most influential of the current scene? Puroreso, Lucha, or British Catch?
Oh, it's Puro.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think that, well, the North American wrestling scene is a direct carbon copy of the All Japan main event scene of big moves, finishers, kickouts, fighting spirit. Like, look, Johnny Ace wrestled in All Japan for years and years and years and years. Came over to the Fed, eventually became the executive vice president, whatever the hell his title was. But before that, he was a road agent who designed the main event matches, and they're copies of the style that the All Japan 4 used to work in All Japan, of hit a big move, sell, kick out of a finisher, hit a big move, sell, like that. I mean, and that's basically what wrestling has become at a high level in a lot of places, is that same Japanese heavy style. A lot of strikes, a lot of big moves, a lot of landing on your head, a lot of kicking out of finishers, a lot of no selling, a lot of fighting spirit. Like, that's, you go to like a big indie show that, or even a Ring of Honor show, or that's basically what it is. That style has become more or less prevalent at the high levels in North America.
Yeah, I would have said that style is more akin to what you see, at least in the indie scene, more akin to what you see in Lucha. Because it's all about, you know, big spots and big moments, and less about having big characters to latch on to. I find that to be more akin, at least for me, to what you see in lucha, and maybe that's due to an experience of what like lucha used to be, but from looking at the North American scene now to what I see in watching my average CMLL show, I think to myself, okay, this is like all lucha libre work, but that's just me. So, next. Crap, I scrolled a little too far. Okay, Adam, what do you guys make of Tessa signing with Jeannie Buss's new WOW all-female promotion?
That's a good question. I think it is proof that they are here to play to some level on Access. They're on Access, right? I thought I saw Access.
Maybe? Hang on,
Maybe?
let me see.
I thought they were on Access.
Let me see. I'm not sure.
But I mean, we talked about it a little earlier. I would put the rocket on Tessa. Like, she must be, and I don't know her. I've never met her. I don't know anything about her. So this is all speculation. She must be like the biggest bag of dicks in the world for WWE not to have signed her. She's 23 and a legacy. Like, did she? What did she do?
Well, you may not remember, but there was a brief time back in the end of 2015 when she was actually doing some matches for NXT. There was one match notably that I remember of her against Alexa Bliss when Alexa Bliss had first started her heel run in NXT.
Okay.
And they were competent matches, but there was a ton of stuff about her being a shithead backstage.
Okay.
And even more that came out during the Mae Young Classic last year about her being a shithead backstage. So that has to be all I can think of.
She must be, because they got no problem employing shitheads. So she must be an extra special level of shithead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that, and when you combine her age, her in-ring ability, her presence,
and the fact that she's a legacy,
I think that, I think that it is a big move for them, and it is what I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is going to be on Access TV.
Okay.
Credit that to Jeannie Buss's connections inherently with Mark Cuban.
Yeah, from the NBA.
Yeah. So,
good on her, by the way, to leverage those
to
get a station that has some experience running professional wrestling to carry her show.
Yeah. But I think that it's a smart move for her in a business sense to give herself as much face time on non-WWE television as possible, continue to build her personal brand. But in the end, I feel like the longer that she continues to be known as Tessa Blanchard, the legacy that isn't actually signed with her father's company, and has this dark cloud surrounding her reputation, unlike the other legacy that isn't signed with WWE, Rachel Ellering, who has opted for her own sake to not be in WWE because she prefers the independent scene and doesn't want to be involved at this point in time. And that is directly her decision. And Rachel has absolutely no black marks on her reputation. She's known far and wide as being a sweetheart. So, and she is also dating Cassius Ohno. So if she wanted to, she would have the easiest time in the world getting herself signed. But she has opted not to. Whereas Tessa continuously has this black cloud about her that everybody relates back to, no matter how far in the past it is.
Yeah, it's tough to change your reputation when it's been set in stone like that, one way or the other.
For as long as Tessa is unable to shake that, she's going to just continue to be in. It's only going to hamper her as time goes on, which is unfortunate. But I think it's a good business sense for her to continue to get herself out there and perform for as many places as she can. So I'm okay with that.
Agreed. I think that she is the future of women's wrestling in North America.
To
Like,
some
I think
degree.
she's super talented.
To some degree, yes.
And I think it's smart that companies build around her. I think Impact absolutely should. I mean, there's not a lot left unless you love Eli Drake. Spoiler alert, I don't love Eli Drake.
No.
Like, I mean, the worst kept secret is that the Lucha Brothers are going to the WWE. So they'll be gone from Impact and everywhere else. You know, so
All right.
why not build around Tessa Blanchard and see what happens?
All right. Taker and Biff both submitted questions to us that are based around fantasy booking that are kind of related. So I'm going to give them both at the same time. Is if you want to have them be, if you want to use this to answer both at the same time, you can. Taker's question asks, what are your guys' ultimate dream matches? Who's in it and why? And plus, how would it end? And then Biff asks, in a fantasy world, imagine New Japan and WWE hold a joint supercard. Book the top 5 matches you must see between current New Japan and WWE performers. Biff, can I add? Madeline says supposedly Tessa threw a public fit in the NXT parking lot regarding Ricochet. Possibly, I wouldn't put that past her, given the way that their relationship apparently ended on a rocky note. So, Biff, if I can ask. Would you allow the caveat of having it be a fantasy card that features WWE, New Japan, and Stardom, seeing as how I would like to book some women's matches for that new super card as well? But if you'd like to, would you? Well, are those two questions things you can answer simultaneously, or do you want to answer them separately? George. Uh-oh. We may have lost George, guys. I don't know what happened. Yeah, he just, I don't know what just happened. George! Oh, no. Okay. I will, George did not die, Adam. That is rude. I'm going to answer this, and I'm going to answer it in a joint fashion here because my number one match, that is a dream match, would be at the top of this card. Oh, everything just died. Restart your PC? I'm gonna tell George to restart his PC, and we'll see if we can get him back on the call. All right. So you're okay. You will allow Stardom. Excellent. Thank you, Biff. Thank you for that concession. All right. So top 5 matches of this card. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and throw some NXT talent into this as well, because there's some things I need to see that involve NXT talent. So you'll forgive me on this if I do this, but you know it has to happen. So first thing I'm booking right out the gate, a triple threat tag team match that pits the Authors of Pain versus the Usos versus the Gorillas of Destiny. Give me that match on a silver platter, please, and thank you. I will eat it up like there is no tomorrow. Because those 3 teams, those are 3 of my favorite tag teams going right now. And to see the 3 of them face off against each other would be so much fun. Oh my God, I need it. I need it. I need that in my life. Second, well, this is going from 5 to 1. So the last match I'm going to name will be the main event. Second, in a matchup of young rising stars that I would love to see face off against each other because of their incredible level of talent, give me a match of Tegan Nox versus Momo Watanabe. 2 of the youngest wrestlers and youngest female wrestlers that can compete on an elite level, even at their young age. I want that match because that's a match that we didn't get to see during Tegan Nox's last run in Stardom when she was still using the name Nixon Newell, because that was when Momo was actually still recovering from injury. And Momo has, in the course of 8 months of 2018, proven herself to be an elite level performer, even at her young age. I think she's only 18 at this point, but she is a stellar performer. But give me that match of Tegan Knox versus Momo Watanabe. I need it. Next, because I never got to see any of these happen live or even on VOD. I still haven't seen any of these happen on VOD. And because I like throwing other names into the match just for the hell of it. Give me Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic, formerly Donovan Dijak, versus Tomohiro Ishii. Because, yeah, Haas battles are fun, guys. Haas battles are the best thing. There has never been a time when a Haas battle was a bad thing. So give me Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. Is that? Yeah, that is. Yeah, instead of Donovan Dijak. You know, I'm just going to call him Donovan Dijak because fuck that long-ass name. But yeah, give me Keith Lee versus Donovan Dijak. God, now I'm saying Dominik Dijak, which is not the right name in any way. Either way, Lee, Dijak, Ishii. Give me that. Because we've seen Keith Lee have great matches with Donovan Dijak. We've seen Keith Lee have great matches with Tomohiro Ishii. Never seen Ishii and Dijak perform against each other, but I'm certain it would be fucking stellar. Give me that match. I feel like I have to book the Tanahashi Cena match. I feel like it has to happen, even though I don't want it to happen. No, I don't want it to happen. Fuck that noise. Give me Tanahashi Nakamura again. Give me that. Give me Lion in Winter Ace Tanahashi still got it versus dickbag punch you in the nuts Nakamura. Give me that again. Because we've seen it in New Japan, and it's great in New Japan. I want it in New Japan. I want the New Japan caliber match in WWE, in this super card. And then finally, my dream match, the match that will never happen, but that I need to happen with all of my being. You don't know how much this has to happen for me, guys. Roman Reigns versus Kazuchika Okada. Give me Roman Reigns versus Kazuchika Okada. And let Okada win. After a 50-minute brawl to end all brawls. Where Okada kicks out of 2 spears. We've seen people kick out of 1 spear. I want Okada as never say die babyface, who is still the best wrestler on the planet, Okada, to kick out of the spear twice and make Roman go, what the fuck, you guy? Who the fuck are you? And then I want Okada after just a series of rainmakers like you would never believe to win the match. And I want them for the sake of continuity and calling back the stables, have them using other people's finishers too. Let Okada hit Ishii's brainbuster. Let Roman hit a dirty deeds. Just bust out wacky shit like that and just make this a match that is just the 2 best in the world fighting tooth and nail for all the supremacy that they can manage. And you can start it out with the typical New Japan fanfare, and you can start out with the slow burn. But yeah, it's a match that I just need. I need it in my life. Yeah, 2 guys just killing each other for an hour. Exactly, takers. Well, shit. George's internet apparently went down entirely, so we have lost the man, and he will not be able to rejoin us to finish out that question, which is most unfortunate, because I know he would have an amazing card. So, unfortunate technical difficulties, guys. It's happened to us before. We are very sorry about that. But yeah. Can't do anything about it. We'll just have to get him back next week. If his internet comes back before the show ends, we'll bring him back in. But I don't think he's going to be able to make it back, which is unfortunate. Damn it to hell. Uh Momo Hinamori. What does that even mean, Senju-san? I'm not familiar. You just want to book that because you haven't seen it live. I don't. I haven't. I want it. I need it live. Yeah, Tana versus Knock. It needs to be a thing. Yeah. All right, Biff. Let's see what you have. Omega and the Young Bucks versus Finn, Gallows, Anderson. That's a good choice. Tana versus Cena. Yeah. Okada Styles. Yeah, that's a good shout. Almost Naito. Oh god, I didn't even think about anything involving LIJ. Shit, I could have done so much there. And Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe. Yeah, that's those are great choices as well, Biff. So many good things. Damn. Okada Reigns would blow up the IWC, right, Biff? That would just make everybody lose their fucking minds. The Juggernaut versus the Rainmaker. Hell yeah. I love it. I just thought of a better fantasy booking question. 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, New Japan versus WWE. Oh, that's an easy one for me. I can give you that right now. On WWE's team, Roman, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Keith Lee versus the New Japan team of Okada, Tanahashi, Ishii, Naito, and Omega. Simple for me. The winner is determined by which promotion is putting on the show. I mean, if it's a joint program, I mean, Madeline, I think that it'd have to be equal footing in terms of who does the booking, but I do not know. I do not know. Do you want to know about Momo Hinamori, although Biff would know? I do not know. You need some bodies to fill in. We're here for you. You need to forward your resume to WWE. We need you in creative. That's the problem, Biff. And I've said this before. WWE creative does not need smart people. It needs people to stand up to Vince. The problem is that Vince fires everybody who stands up to him, so it wouldn't even matter anyway. It's a writer's room full of 30 yes men, and yes, they're all men. So 30 yes men who don't know how to say no to the freaking septuagenarian who can't properly run a business and somehow is still making money hand over fist. Don't even ask me how. But being as it is now 20 minutes to 11, guys, we're going to call it here. And we're going to say goodnight. But we will not say goodnight without first giving you our typical outro. I will do the one-man outro in George's stead. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties, guys. But, you know, live radio / live podcasting. It happens. Please go and support all of our friends out in the wrestling podcast world. First of all, Taker's Meeting and Mr. Dr. Senju right there in the chat with our Los Ingobernables Day podcast brother show, Shooting Debris, Saturday mornings, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Get your breakfast, get your graps. Start your weekend off with Shooting Debris. These guys know all the best stuff about wrestling. They have incredibly good discussions, and it's always a fun time listening to them. Great perspectives about all things in the wrestling realm, and happy to call them our brothers. Please go and check them out. Follow them on Twitter at Shootin'daBreeze1. That's Shootin'daBreeze1 on Twitter. You can also follow them at Top.
We're back.
Oh, you're back.
It's a run-in.
Okay. All right.
Where were we? I don't know what just happened.
I'm calling off the outro. We're canceling the outro. We're bringing George back in. All right.
We're back.
So, did you hear the questions?
I heard we were talking about Tessa Blanchard and Rachel Ellering, and that's it.
Wow. Okay. So you died really early in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then, in that case, we had two questions that I put together as one. If you want to put them together as one,
that's what I heard you say. You said I have two questions, and that you can answer as one, and then you went away.
Okay. So the first one from Taker, he asked, "What are your dream matches? Who's in it and why? And who wins?"
Okay.
I went with Roman Okada.
Okay.
Because two best wrestlers on the planet. You can't tell me that's not going to be an awesome match. And then Biff asked, if WWE and New Japan put together a joint supercard, who would be in your top 5 matches?
Ooh.
That's so I put that together, and I put together a supercard that features. While you think about that, I'll tell you what mine was. I had 5 matches. We had first a triple threat tag team match with AOP, the Usos, and the Gorillas facing off. Next, a women's match with Tegan Knox versus Momo Watanabe, because two of the best up-and-coming women's wrestlers. Then we had another triple threat, Keith Lee, Donovan Dijak, and Tomohiro Ishii.
Okay.
Because, then Tanahashi Nakamura.
Okay.
And then main event of Roman Okada.
Okay. How about...
So give me...
How about I give you some more? How about those are all great.
Yeah.
How does a...
Give your 5. And if your dream matches among them, include...
Okay. I would love... Well, give me a... You know what? As good as an Okada-Roman Reigns match would be, and I have no doubt that it would be very, very great, I think I want a Shield versus LIJ 3-on-3. I think I want
Which 3 from LIJ?
I think I want Naito, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I want Naito, Evil, and Sonata.
Good choices.
Against the Shield. I think that would be great. And it would be I just give them like 18 minutes and they would have just a banger of a match.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would want, you know what I think I'd want?
Mm-hmm.
I want like Young Will versus AJ Styles.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, I forgot to give a caveat here. Also, Dick allowed me to expand it to be Stardom as well, so that we could have women.
So we have women?
Yes.
Okay.
So
then I want
WWE New Japan Stardom.
Okay. I think I want Young Will versus AJ Styles. I think that would be a lot of fun. It would let AJ tap back into his roots kind of as a junior, and do some cool top rope stuff. And I'm in on Young Will evolving past the junior. It would be like AJ wrestling. It'd be like that meme of Spider-Man pointing to himself, of like young AJ and young Will pointing at each other.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I'm good for that. That sounds good.
I think I want that. I think I want Minoru Suzuki to do something. Yeah, you know what I want? I want Minoru Suzuki, and I want... Who do I want tagging with him? Oh, I know what I want. Here's a weird one for you. I want Minoru Suzuki and Chris Wolf against Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Gargano.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I mean, the only downside to that is that Chris Wolf is no longer on Stardom's roster. I'll give you that one. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
I like Chris Wolf.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I like, and her trying to do the cool Chris Wolf stuff while Minoru Suzuki is just like looking at her.
Yeah,
that would be great. And Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Gargano is an awesome tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Or Miss and Mrs. Candice LeRae, however you want to name it.
Yeah, really.
How about Hiroki Goto versus like a Matt Riddle? Does that do anything for you?
I'm on board with that.
How does that sound?
Totally
I like Hiroki Goto, and I think that I love his offense, as we've discussed, and Riddle's offense is just badass too.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be like two teams that don't play defense, and the game ends like 35-32.
Yeah,
like whatever the wrestling version of that is.
Yeah.
How about Ricochet versus Hiromu? Get well soon, Hiromu.
Yeah.
How's that? Does that work for you?
I mean,
throw Finn Balor in there too. Finn Balor can tap back to his junior roots too.
Hell yeah. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. That sounds great.
Yeah. And then I would like, how about a Drew Gulak versus Zack Sabre Jr.? Just grapple fuck for everybody. And put Mustafa Ali in that triple threat and make it a 4-way from before.
Okay.
So you have Ali, Ricochet, Finn Balor, and Hiromu. And then
I'm okay with that, yeah.
And I need a little grapple fuckery. So how about Zack Sabre versus Drew Gulak?
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sounds awesome.
I need something for Kaz Okada. What do we do with Kaz Okada?
I don't know, but you've passed your 5. You've passed your 5 already.
That's good. Because my finale would be Kaz Okada versus Johnny Gargano. Or not Johnny Gargano. My finale would be Kaz Okada versus... Who are we going to pull up from NXT? Tommaso? Does that work for you? Seems like a waste. I'm not thrilled about that.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, okay.
Kaz Okada versus Keith Lee is a match I would be on board for.
Yeah, I could live with that. Kaz Okada versus Andrade Almas do anything for you?
That could be fun too, yeah.
Okay, that could be fun. Okay. Kaz Okada versus Daniel Bryan. Boom, call it a day. We're done here. We're done. That's it. That's it. We're done. Everyone's happy, you know. So, all right.
Taker, I don't think
five, but that's more than 5, but I'm okay with that.
Taker, I don't know that I'm qualified to answer that question. I don't know if George is qualified to answer that
What's
either.
the question?
What 5 women from 1990 or before for the roster of WWE today?
June Byers, first of all, is an easy pick from way back in the day. 5 women from before 1990. Oof. June Byers for sure. Man, not a lot going on there. I'd have to really dig into like Lucha and stuff and get some, but
I don't have the knowledge
in North America. I don't have an answer for you other than June Byers, who you should absolutely look up. She's pretty fucking great. We've talked about her in the past. She was around like in the 50s.
I do remember the story that got published in the Observer about her. Yes.
From about when I like just broke my phone copying and pasting it to you. Yes. She was like doing shoot stuff with like men in like Atlanta. It's just like, what is this? So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Before 1990, I mean, a whole lot of like Wendy Richter. Wendy Richter, maybe. I'm not touching Fabulous Moolah because she's just garbage.
No.
And Mae Young, I don't know enough about before she got super old. Like, so I don't know. But I mean, sorry, Takers. There's not a lot there for you.
The problem is that a lot of the names that I would pick because a lot of the names that I would pick who debuted before 1990, because Japanese wrestling goes on for fucking ever, didn't retire until very, very, very,
super
very
recently
later. Like you look at the Crush Girls, Lioness Asuka retired in 2005. Friggin' Chigusa Nagayo is still wrestling today at the age of 53. So
and still like not terrible.
Yeah.
Considering she's 53 with no knees.
Yeah. So it's hard to pick names from that stipulation for me because I just don't have the knowledge base.
It's tough. I don't have a lot either, Takers. I'm sorry.
We tried. We tried. But yeah. So was your dream match in that group, or did you have a dream match?
My dream match would be Okada Bryan.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, that's Okada Bryan.
Who wins that match?
Probably Daniel Bryan.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think Okada's hurt. I think Okada loses less with a loss than Bryan does. So I think Bryan gains more with a win, and Okada loses less with a loss, if that makes sense. Like, Okada's bulletproof at this point. He's just bulletproof. You can take the loss. Not that Bryan can't, but I think I'm going with Daniel Bryan. I think you get more. I think you just get a little more oomph there with him getting the win.
Yep.
And I would have me with a submission. And to the best of my knowledge, I think Okada's tapped out exactly once, and it was to a Nakamura armbar off a Rainmaker. That Sabre used that same spot to try to call back to in their title match that we talked about.
Yeah.
So I think I would have it be a submission. So
nice. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choices. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Diamond
Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Chris? I asked you one. Do you have any for me?
What do you think it would take for an indie promotion to hook you in enough to make you want to consistently buy their streaming service and see their shows every time they came around? What would it take for a company like an Evolve or a Progress? Because I'm thinking about things that are not the big names like New Japan or WWE, smaller promotion, that doesn't run shows regularly. What would you to buy into them full scale?
I asked for 2 things in my wrestling. I asked for logical, well-told, well-thought-of stories that make sense. And I asked for characters I can latch onto.
Yeah.
If you don't give me those, I ask for awesome in-ring work. You know, ideally, I would get cool in-ring work on top of, the cool stories and the cool characters.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna give me, if you're not gonna tell me stories, then give me kick-ass in-ring work, and I'll just watch PWG. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll make that trade-off. But that's my two big things I care the most about: well-told stories that make sense, and characters who are compelling and make me want to watch. Like when I was a kid, I watched Steve Austin because he was a compelling character, and I wanted to know what he did every week. Like stories were not logical. The in-ring wasn't great, but the characters were so interesting to 12-year-old me that I was like, I'm in. What happens next Monday? I remember turning off the TV on Mondays in 1998 at 10:05 or whatever, and saying, shit, I got 6 days and 22 more hours till I see what happens next. Like that's what I want in my wrestling, Chris. It's not that's what appeals to me. If you give me a character that does that and a company that does that, I'm in. I'll go to your shows. I'll buy your merch. I'll order your pay-per-views or streaming or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's what I'm looking for. That's why I love New Japan. People ask me why do I love New Japan, because the stories are told month after month after month. When we talk about Okada and Tanahashi have wrestled 11 times, Chris. But each of their matches builds on the one before that.
Yeah.
And each of their matches is a layer in a beautiful cake of a story.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I specified indie promotions is because even New Japan runs shows every week. It's harder to do that kind of cohesive storytelling when you're only running one show a month.
Or something like that. Yeah.
And that's the reason why I asked that specifically, because, it requires a lot more investment if you're going to remember the show from a month ago to be able to pay attention enough to follow along with the story that they're trying to tell.
It does. It's not easy. If you are a Defy or a Beyond or an AEW or an Evolve or whomever, an indie that only runs once a month, it's not easy to tell a long-term story because the guy or lady you're telling the story with may have a booking obligation or may go to the WWE or may blow their knee out and miss 6 months or whatever.
Yep.
And B, you don't have that same tool of weekly television or weekly whatever to keep a character interested.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But you still can tell good stories, though. I feel it's harder, but it's not impossible.
And that's why there are companies like PWG who just don't even bother.
No, or they tell their stories in the lower half of the card, and then in the upper half of the card, it's, hey, look, it's a super indie, which, hey, whatever. I mean, I get why they do that. But that being said, I've never been more interested in PWG than I was when Chuck Taylor was chasing the title. That's a story. Chuck Taylor ain't a great worker, all due respect. I like the guy. He's fine. He's perfectly adequate in-ring wrestler. But, I mean, he's not winning any awards anytime soon
Definitely not. No.
But when PWG was telling the story of him chasing the title and he finally won the title, that was a cool story. It was great.
Yep.
So tell me stories, man. Wrestling's an art form. At the end of the day, it's a storytelling art form. It's an entertainment medium. It is a literary thing.
Yes.
No different than, a novel in serialized form in a magazine every month. So
certainly, yeah. Diamond Dog. Well, we're going to start to wrap it up, guys. So we'll take two last questions.
Sure.
Diamond Dogs ask, how do you think someone like Pentagon Jr. would fare in the Fed, NXT, or main roster?
I think he'd be fine in NXT, and I think he'd be a mess in the Fed on the main roster.
Yeah, it's no pursuit. Also, that he and Phoenix are both being pursued heavily by WWE right now, and I echo that sentiment because in NXT they have a lot more freedom to build on what people know them for. Whereas on the main roster, they're required to basically restrain themselves and create an entirely new identity for themselves.
I don't think there's
just have their identity pared down to a few tiny details that are not really able to be latched onto.
I think Pentagon's biggest problem is the language barrier, which is overcomable on the main roster. Mm-hmm. But his second biggest problem is that I don't think his style translates to what they want in the ring. I don't think we're getting a lot of crowd brawls on Monday Night Raw.
We're definitely not getting a lot of broken arms.
No, or package pile drivers.
Hell no. Like, I could very easily see Paul Heyman managing Pentagon.
I think with his charisma,
that could work. But I also like the other problem is that because WWE is so size focused, I don't know how much Pentagon would be given an opportunity to succeed because of the fact that he's not a large man.
No, he's not.
So he would not. I don't think he would necessarily have that ability to kind of break the glass ceiling. So
I think Phoenix would be more successful in the main roster than Pentagon would be, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Even though I think Phoenix is very, very talented, but I think Pentagon is the better of the two.
Yes. And that's
especially
the problem.
From a charisma perspective.
Like, they can just put Phoenix in Lucha House Party and have him be have him easily overtake Kalisto as being the star, have Kalisto become the mouthpiece, and Phoenix is the star worker of the group. And, Lucha House Party becomes a stable and they immediately run the table on 205, and that's huge. Whereas Pentagon can't fit in with a group like Lucha House Party. He would be more fit. He would fit more in with a group like Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa.
I mean, but, it'll never happen.
They're breaking it down by ethnicity barriers. So who the fuck knows?
It'll never happen, and it probably shouldn't. Mm-hmm. But if I have the book, I'd fucking put Pentagon in the Shield. And just say, all right, you're all gonna just wreck shit. I do a story like when the Shield gets the shit kicked out of them like 5 weeks in a row, and hey man, we need more numbers. Who's this Agent of Death? We like him, Yeah. Enemy of my enemy sort of thing, like somebody who was screwing with the Shield, like hit Pentagon backstage or something.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd call him up, but I'd have him do his own thing for 5-6 months, and then there'd be a backstage fight. The Shield's getting worked and someone hits Pentagon by mistake and Pentagon just starts wrecking shit, and then the show ends with Pentagon maybe saving the Shield, maybe not, maybe doing his own thing. And I'd build that for a few weeks until finally he runs out and bails them out to a huge pop. And then the four of them just cause mayhem because he'd be great there. He wouldn't have to talk. He could just show up and be like what Roman Reigns in 2014 was, show up, wreck shit and go home.
Yep.
I mean, it's not hard, but I think he would be lost on the main roster until the way the main roster is structured right now, which is a fucking indictment of the main roster if you squander a guy as talented as Pentagon.
Yeah.
They've
already done it with so many others.
I know. It doesn't make it any easier, though. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But you are certainly not wrong, my friend. So,
and then
2 questions. What's the last one?
The last one from Biff. Picture 10 years into the future, is WWE's top wrestler on their current roster in NXT or in another promotion?
Ooh. Top wrestler. That's
their ace.
Their ace.
Yeah, you agree, Diamond?
So Roman will be what, 42?
Yeah.
I don't think Roman's doing this for 10 more years. I think I can easily see him as I made my money, I'm getting the hell out. I got kids to raise. And God bless, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not passing judgment on him by saying that. You know what I'm saying?
I could easily see him taking a Lesnar type deal.
Yep. God bless. And more power to you, man.
Yeah, as well he should, yes.
Oh, their main guy in 10 years. I am going to say not on the roster. And I'm going to say we don't even know who this person is yet. I'm going to say it's somebody right now in some college wrestling program or college gymnasium or high school football player who we have no idea who they are, who 2 years from now is working low-level indies, 4 years from now is working big indies, 6 years from now is working NXT, 8 years from now is working Monday Night Raw, and 10 years from now is the head of the company. Because it's everyone else is, 10 years from now, all the people that we know in NXT are in their late 30s at the earliest, right?
Yeah.
Except for Io Shirai, who's going to be in her mid-30s because she's a prodigy.
Yeah.
So
Tegan Knox, who's in her early 20s right now.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream's, 23, 22? Like, so you have to really be super high on the potential of like a Velveteen Dream or Bianca Belair or someone like that.
Yeah.
And they have to stick with it and get better and not, God forbid, 1,000 times blow their knee out and never wrestle again or something, you know?
You also have to take into consideration who's in charge at that point in time, because Vince is right now 73. So in 10 years, he's 83. If he's even still alive. And if he's 83 years old, still alive, and still in control of the company,
God help us all.
If those three things are the case, I can tell you who right now who the top guy is Don Dijak.
Yeah, but Don Dijak's not young though, is he? Is he young? I don't even know.
Let me look. I'm pretty sure he's fairly young.
Is he younger than 30? I honestly don't know.
Oh, he's 31 this year, so maybe not. Maybe not.
Matt Riddle's not young. He's like 33, right?
Yeah,
something like that. 34.
Keith Lee also
is in his 30s. Like, I'm trying. So it's gonna be someone coming the Roman Reigns route that we've never heard of, who either plays football somewhere and gets signed to NXT, or
I got a name for you.
Give me a name.
Jay White.
It's a good name.
25 years old.
Yeah, it's a real good name.
I mean, he's kind of small.
Got the accent, which they hate.
But he's a hell of a promo.
Yeah.
And
it's a good name.
His presence is undeniable.
What about Will Ospreay?
Will Ospreay's another good name.
You think it'll be too broken down by then? That's the problem with high flyers. They age out. Their
style is kind of rough. That's the problem. The other possible name, and he's kind of on the older side for it, but the other possible name I can think of is Adam Cole.
He's what, 27?
29. Adam Page is 27.
That's the name. That's a great name.
Too small though.
He's bigger than those other two I named though.
That's true. Well, he's 6 feet, 215.
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's got the charisma of Shawn Michaels. I'm just the physical attributes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
6 feet, 215 ain't bad.
Yeah, that's AJ Styles.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam Page is a good name. Jay White's a good name. But I'm still gonna go with Nada. I'm still gonna go with Nada on the roster in 10 years from now. Like okay, think of this, right? 10 years ago, it was John Cena and Randy Orton, right?
Yeah.
And those guys Cena is more or less done, and Orton is clearly a mid-carder.
Yeah.
Like, it was Triple H who is more or less done. Undertaker is done. Shawn Michaels is done. More, maybe, but let's assume he's done. I mean, real quick, you got the internet, right? Mine's been acting up. Give me SummerSlam 2008. Give me the card of that. Give me the card of that real fast, and then we'll get out of here because it's 10:15 or 10 after.
Yeah. All right.
Bottom to top.
Big Show defeated Bam Neely.
Okay, he's done
with Chavo Guerrero.
Okay, they're all done.
Montel Vontavious Porter defeated Jeff Hardy.
Okay, MVP is not in the company, and Hardy is hanging on by a thread, health wise.
Beth Phoenix and Santino Marella defeated Kofi Kingston and Mickie James to win the IC title and women's title.
Sounds like a thing.
Weird-ass match.
Phoenix is retired. Morella's retired because he's got the bad neck.
He still does stuff on the indies every so often, but
he's like
Mick Foley.
Oh, I thought he had a neck
I actually saw a clip of a hilarious match. What about
Big E? How old is he?
What?
How old is Big E?
That's actually that's a name.
That's not a bad idea. Is he's what, 31?
Okay. Big E is 32.
That's a possibility.
He's 2 months. He's only 2 months older than me.
Shit, that's a possibility.
Possibility, yeah.
You know.
Anyway,
go back to this. Okay.
Matt Hardy defeated Mark Henry.
Okay, they're both retired for all intents and purposes.
CM Punk defeated JBL.
We know how that story ends.
Triple H defeated the Great Khali.
Okay.
Batista defeated John Cena.
Okay, Cena's still around.
And the main event, Undertaker defeated Edge.
So 10 years ago, if we're having this conversation in 2008, all the people who were on the SummerSlam card are no longer on the card except for John Cena.
Yeah.
My point is that we have no idea. 10 years ago, like, did anybody other than college football fans know who Roman Reigns was?
No.
Right?
Point.
I mean, maybe even high school football fans?
And they didn't even know who – they knew who Joe Anoa'i was. And nobody knew that fucking name back then.
But they knew who Joe Anoa'i was because he was The Rock's buddy, The Rock's relative. But, like, I'm saying any wrestling fan know who Joe Anoa'i was. No, he was the defensive end from Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Who's pretty good. Like, my point is that a lot can change.
Yes.
You know, so AJ Styles was working undercard in TNA.
Yeah.
Same with Samoa Joe. So I'm going with not on the roster, Biff, as my long answer to your short question.
Yeah. Well,
but I still say
shout.
Alex Adonis, it will be someone we've never heard of.
Adam says Juice Robinson.
That's not bad. He's young enough. Can talk.
He is how old?
20.
He's 29. He's 29.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, yeah.
So it's gonna be someone not on the roster.
Yeah. Possibility.
Yep. All right. Should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here. All right. So I started the intro before. I guess we got the outro before. I guess we got to restart it again 45 minutes later. Check out our friends in the wrestling podcast realm, Shooting Debris Saturday mornings at Shooting Debris1 on Twitter, and also follow them on their personal Twitters at Takers_Meaning and at MRDR Senju. We love you guys. Thank you guys for being here in the chat. Thank you guys for participating.
You guys made the show awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can also check out Takers Meaning along with Biff Kensington, Legends Lover, and the man to my right, left, up, down, center, Georgia Savas, on Connoisseurs of Wrestling, Monday nights, 8 p.m., going head-to-head with Monday Night Raw. They are talking about all of historical wrestling stuff. And, George, let us know what's going on with the show.
Last week we talked about Bruiser Brody. We inducted him into the Hall of Fame. This week we are going to be talking about one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Nice.
And you should listen.
Definitely. Check out our buddy Don Sal over at Cedar Bridge Media with Match Fixing. You can follow him at Kusmano_Scal and at Cedar_Bridge to get the information about Match Fixing. Great show. Don Sal, very intelligent young man, knows all of his shit and has all the best takes. And Tanya Rogers with her forthcoming new show, to which we still do not know the name yet or the time or the place. But as soon as it is published, you definitely be sure to check her out and find out what she has going on, because it's going to be amazing. Follow her on Twitter at Militia Malice Joe and keep up to date on all the information what's going on with her show. Follow us on Twitter as well at 2guys1sport, number 1 in the handle, to find out all the information about when the show is going live, what we're doing week to week, and all the other great stuff there. You can follow us also on our personal Twitters at GitSavas and at CrazyChris576. Come and talk with us about all things wrestling, professional sports, video games, all sorts of other stuff, any other topics you guys want to talk about. We are more than happy to discuss with you fine folks, because you guys are awesome. You make the show great. Thank you guys for being here week to week and for checking us out. Make sure you bring your friends on back as well. Have them come in Thursday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And check us out on iTunes as well. Follow the link in the description below the video to our iTunes page. Subscribe, give us a rating, give us a recommendation, and show us the appreciation there on iTunes as well. And if you're looking for any non-wrestling content, you can come on by my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/crazychris576. Follow me on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays for all your video game related content. We are almost done with Fallout New Vegas, I think. After which we will be delving into a couple of other games before we make our triumphant return back to Borderlands 2, September 17th, Monday night. Mark the date if you want to see the next chapter of Borderlands 2.
Ooh, what are you building?
Channel. I'm going back to Hyperion Shotgun Gauge, continuing on that. And after that, we got a couple of modded playthroughs coming up. I've got a weapon randomizer playthrough that I'm going to be doing, and something involving modded skill trees that I haven't decided on yet. But Borderlands 2 content will be coming back to the channel in about a week and a half. So mark your calendars if you are a Borderlands fan to come on by.
I'm almost done with the main storyline with Malamaya, by the way.
Nice.
I have to just get to the Iridium Blight and then go to the Vault, or the Vault of the Warrior, yeah.
Very nice. You love New Vegas, Biff? Yeah. The game was gifted to me by one of the mods of my channel, and I started playing it without any knowledge of anything about the game this past Sunday. I played it Sunday and Monday. I couldn't play last night. I was supposed to stream last night, but I had to cancel due to some personal stuff. So we're continuing that tomorrow night. If you guys want to come on by and hang out, 8 p.m. Eastern Time is when I go live on weeknights, and on the weekends go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So come on by and check it out if you are a fan of the video game variety. And I think that's it. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, take us out, George.
First of all, a sincere thank you for listening. Y'all made this show pretty great. You make this show pretty great every week, but you made it especially great this week. Yes. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
That too, yes.
Give us a little thumbs up on the video, and be like Dave and give us 5 stars on iTunes. Not asking for a lot, are we, Chris?
Nah.
But in the meantime, more importantly, be nice to each other. Be good to each other. Don't work yourselves into a shoot. Thank you for starting your weekend with us. That's Chris. I'm George. This is Two Guys, One Sport. Good night, everybody.
Episode 73 is in the books.